Today, me and my friend are finally settling the debate. Gojo Satoru vs Ryomen Sukuna. But this isn't the normal fight you've seen before. This version of Gojo is at full potential. What do I exactly mean by that, you may ask? Well, this version of Gojo has access to a barrierless domain and the ability to effectively fly. We'll be fighting across 5 rounds to see who really is the strongest. If this video gets 1,000 views, we'll be running it back. But this time, Sukuna will also be at full potential. And trust me, it gets crazy. So without further ado, let the battle between the strongest begin. Yoshiki Murasaki 史上最強の樹脂現代最強の樹脂勘違いしたらみたいなら言っとくけどそっちがチャレンジャーだから
クソガキ浮遊士だけで調子に乗るなお前はまな板の優位の魚だまずはその鱗を剥がしてやる
The two strongest sorcerers exchanged devastating blows at a speed beyond comprehension. Every strike warped the air around them. Every clash of cursed energy shook the battlefield itself. Gojo Satoru pressed forward relentlessly, overwhelming Sukuna with impossible speed and precision. But the King of Curses had no time to waste. Realizing the battle could slip from his grasp at any moment, Sukuna made his decision. With a grin creeping across his face, he summoned the one entity capable of adapting to the impossible, Mahoraga. The massive Shikigami emerged behind him as the divine wheel turned with a metallic screech. But Sukuna did not stop there. Almost immediately, he summoned Agito as well, turning the fight into a 3-on-1 against Gojo Satoru. Mahoraga charged forward first, its monstrous blade tearing through the air with terrifying force, forcing Gojo to defend from multiple angles at once. The Divine General surged forward again, its massive frame closing the distance in an instant. Gojo was sent crashing straight into a building. Sukuna followed up immediately, keeping Gojo pinned and forcing him to stay on the defensive. But even Sukuna understood the limitation. The Shikigami couldn't stay manifested indefinitely. So, in an instant, Sukuna withdrew both Agito and Mahoraga. And in that brief moment, it marked the beginning of their first domain clash. As both sorcerers expanded their domains, the battlefield itself trembled. The air distorted violently. Buildings began to crack and collapse under the pressure, their foundations unable to withstand the weight of the domains colliding. But in that instant, Ryomen Sukuna realized something was terribly wrong. Gojo Satoru's domain had no barrier, and as their domains collided, unlimited void struck first. Infinite knowledge flooded Sukuna's mind without mercy, drowning his senses in boundless information. The overload was too much for even the King of Curses to endure. And before Sukuna could recover, his connection to the battlefield was severed.
Since my friend got disconnected from the server, the first match will be voided and neither of us will gain a point. Now with that settled, on to round 2.
Before Sukuna could fully regain control of the pace, Gojo activated blue around his fists, pulling Sukuna toward him. And then... Black Flash. Sukuna immediately began using reverse curse technique. In a split second, Satoru Gojo expanded his domain once again. The Shikigami swung its blade, completely shattering Gojo's domain. The collapse stunned even Gojo for a brief moment. Sukuna remained frozen in place, his body still suffering from the effects of unlimited void and unable to move properly. Realizing this was his chance to end the fight, Gojo immediately tried to capitalize on the opening. But Mahoraga wouldn't allow it. Sukuna mocked Gojo, calling him painfully ordinary. He then attempted to manifest his domain, only for it to collapse almost instantly. Sukuna could no longer properly maintain his domain. Gojo laughed at him and hit him with a black flash. Sukuna panicked. Gojo had just landed his second black flash, and his cursed energy was beginning to swell as the momentum of the battle shifted further into his favor. Gojo then had an idea. He continuously opened his domain again and again, not giving the King of Curses any chance to expand his own. Sukuna trembled under the pressure and called upon his other Shikigami for aid. But in doing so, he made a critical mistake, recalling Mahoraga as well. And that's when Gojo saw his opportunity to end it for good. Unlimited Void was cast once again, and Sukuna had no escape. With Sukuna completely locked in place, Gojo began chanting for Hollow Purple.
Between front and back. Hollow Purple.
All of the Shikigami on the field were wiped out instantly, leaving Sukuna severely injured and barely standing. The King of Curses, now cornered and broken, begged for his life, but it was already over.
I didn't even know how we managed to make our fight that manga accurate.
Round 3 began with Gojo refusing to let up, overwhelming Sukuna with a relentless barrage of punches. Frustrated, Sukuna charged up Dismantle and uttered the words, "World-cutting slash." The attack struck Gojo, but it wasn't fatal. Sukuna's output had been weakened by the damage he had already sustained. Using RCT to recover, Gojo immediately went back on the offensive, propelling himself forward with Blue to continue the assault. But Sukuna was done holding back. Summoning both Mahoraga and Agito, he turned the fight into a brutal 3-on-1. Mahoraga sent Gojo flying, allowing Agito and Sukuna to follow up with a relentless barrage of attacks. Even while overwhelmed, Gojo managed to evade and deflect as many blows as possible. Gojo was launched even higher into the air, and in that moment, he came up with a desperate gambit. While he was deep in thought, Agito and Mahoraga continued their relentless assault. Seizing the opportunity, Sukuna uttered the words, "World-cutting slash." The attack nearly killed Gojo instantly, only failing because his body subconsciously reinforced itself with cursed energy at the last second. Though he managed to recover with RCT, the strain left him heavily fatigued. He soared into the sky, chanting. Sukuna couldn't hear the incantation from that distance, but the moment Gojo landed, his stomach dropped.
Phase, Twilight, Eyes of Wisdom. 9 ropes, polarized light, crow and declaration, between front and back, hollow, purple.
It was already too late. Gojo unleashed Hollow Purple, ending the fight in an instant.
Yeah, Sukuna's gonna need to catch up.
As soon as the battle began, Gojo rushed to open his domain as quickly as possible. But Sukuna reacted in time and activated Malevolent Shrine. Their domains clashed violently as the two sorcerers fought for dominance, yet neither was able to overpower the other, resulting in a draw. Sukuna then proceeded to summon his Shikigami, Piercing Ox and Agito. Piercing Ox was dealt with almost immediately, but shortly after, Sukuna summoned Mahoraga. Since Gojo didn't win the previous domain clash, it would mean that Sukuna wasn't hit with it. Gojo rushed to open his domain, catching the king off guard. He charged a Hollow Purple and ended the battle immediately.
You know what that means? Gojo won. But wait a minute. We still have a bonus round just for you.
Gojo opened the exchange with Red, the explosive blast completely disorienting
I am
Sukuna.
actually landing more hits than you.
Frustrated, Sukuna immediately tried to counter by casting his domain to catch Gojo off guard. But Gojo anticipated the play. Reacting instantly, he fired off a Hollow Purple, inflicting massive damage and making Sukuna unable to maintain Malevolent Shrine.
happened? Were you
With
not able to
Sukuna
maintain
reeling,
Ryomen?
Gojo immediately capitalized and trapped him in unlimited void. Paralyzed by the infinite information, Sukuna waited for Mahoraga. There was no one there. His fate was in the hands of Gojo.
Don't worry.
Gojo laughed as he charged up Red to end the battle once and for all.
Pillar of light. The final score is 4-0 in favor of Gojo. You know what that means? Gojo won! Well, at least for now. Remember, if this video gets 1,000 views, we'll make a part 2. And if you made it this far, please consider subscribing and dropping a like to support this channel.